Welcome back to another episode of Jason's Life in 5. Today is August 21st, 2022, and in today's video we're going to actually relive an event that took place 5 years ago today. It's the Great American Eclipse in 2017. My family and we traveled up to Idaho and got to experience that, and I took some video then. I have a real-time shot as well as time-lapse, and hopefully you'll enjoy this. Welcome to the Riverside Cemetery in Payette, Idaho. Might seem like a weird spot to see an eclipse, however, it was an open field without any trees to obstruct our view. And shortly after arriving, I realized that this was also the final resting place of former Major League Baseball Hall of Famer Harmon Killebrew. So I decided to set up two cameras, one focused on his grave, which was a real-time shot, and then a second one on my family, which was a time-lapse. One of the first strange things to occur was right before the moment of the eclipse. The birds made a lot of commotion, and I think this was because they felt a feeling of dusk. Now it's very subtle in this video, but the darkness really is starting to set in. If you watch the grave marker, you'll see that it gets harder and harder to read as we go. Now in the lower right here, you'll see a photo I took just before the moment of the eclipse. This inset will be followed with our time-lapse of my family watching the eclipse. You can really see that the gravestone is really quite dark, but it's light in the horizon. Now most eclipses last between 2 and 3 minutes, but it's dependent upon where you are in the shadow, or the penumbra as it's called. We were near the outside edge. In the video you can see it's getting dark, and here's the first photo I took from my camera of the eclipsed sun. It really was truly amazing to look at, and this is one of my best photos I took. In the audio of our real-time video, you can hear the excitement of the crowds as the big moment of the eclipse arrives. And in the inset video here you see a photo I took as the sun had just come out from behind the moon. This truly was quite the spectacle to see. Now looking at the graves marker, you'll see that you can start to make out a little bit of detail as the light is starting to slowly return in real time. Now I have to say, I have seen partial eclipses in the past, but never a total solar eclipse. And this was by far one of the most magnificent things I have ever seen. It doesn't even compare to a partial eclipse. So if you ever have the opportunity to witness a total solar eclipse, I would definitely recommend you take that. For those of you in North America, the next one that we'll have arriving is scheduled for April 8th, 2024. Here in the inset you can see a map of roughly where that will go. If you're in Dallas, that is certainly prime viewing location. And it sounds like locals are lighting off fireworks to mark the big event. And here you'll see that you can start to make out a pretty good amount of detail on the grave marker, just contrasting the difference of lighting during the moment of the eclipse. One of the other things that we noticed during the eclipse that was quite interesting was the drastic and fast drop in temperature. It probably went down about 10 to 20 degrees cooler. So while it seems like a peculiar place to take in this natural event, I'm really quite glad we did, and that we stumbled upon this site. My family was fortunate enough to meet Harmon Killebrew back in 2006 when he came to the local minor league baseball game here. So this stroke of serendipity just added a little bit of extra interest to this event. I hope you've enjoyed looking back at this adventure, and thanks for joining us on Jason's Life in 5.